Steve Rogers enlists in the military when Dr. Abraham Erskine and Peggy Carter turn Steve into the super soldier Captain America. Cap discovers that his best friend, Bucky Barnes, is missing. He, Peggy, and Howard Stark rescue Bucky's team and infiltrate Hydra's main factory run by Nazis in the process. He learns that Hydra is run by a man named Red Skull. Cap forms a team known as the Howling Commandos who defeat base after base as their chase leads them down to a train where Red Skull's top scientist, Arnim Zola, attacks them with a remote-controlled robot. Zola pushes Bucky off of a cliff and the Commandos capture Zola, who reveals Red Skull's plan to nuke major cities in the United States. Cap takes over Red Skull's plane and Red Skull touches the Tesseract, getting sent into space. Cap then sinks the plane into the sea and stops the nukes, not getting discovered and thawed until 2011. Peggy returns to her desk job at the SSR under Agent John Flynn. The phone rings and Peggy goes on a time-sensitive mission, causing her to get invited to found S.H.I.E.L.D. Howard asks Peggy for help after some of his weapons get stolen. Peggy and Howard's butler, Edwin Jarvis, investigate. Meanwhile, Daniel Sousa, Jack Thompson, Ray Kursminski, and SSR Office Chief Roger Dooley investigate Howard. Peggy and the SSR then learn that a Russian group known as Leviathan is out to get Stark's weapons, so they infiltrate the base, where they meet Dr. Johann Fenhoff, who hypnotizes Dooley into giving him a Stark weapon and then blowing himself up. Peggy, Howard, and Jarvis stop and kill Fenhoff, and Thompson takes credit for stopping Leviathan and gets appointed the new chief. Peggy goes to Los Angeles to investigate a scientific organization named Isodyne, which is connected to some anomalies, and Dr. Jason Wilkes explains that a substance called Zero Matter is responsible, but then becomes a ghost trying to steal it, and actress Whitney Frost gains the ability to absorb people into her. After several attempts by Whitney and Wilkes to get more Zero Matter, Howard shows the SSR how to safely recreate the experiment in order to catch Whitney. She gets all of the Zero Matter sucked out of her and gets arrested. That night, somebody shoots Thompson and steals incriminating files on Peggy. Veers is an agent of the Kree Empire whose team is sent to rescue a captured Kree from the Skrulls. Veers crash lands on Earth, where agents Fury and Coulson of S.H.I.E.L.D. show up, led by Director Keller. The Skrulls attack, and Fury works with Veers, who learns that she is a presumed dead human. Veers, Fury, and a Flurkin named Goose flee after learning that Keller is actually a Skrull named Talos. They discover that Veers' real name is Carol Danvers, and she reunites with Maria Rambeau. Talos then reveals that the Skrulls are merely looking for a home, and the Kree are trying to prevent that. Carol, Talos, and Fury then go aboard the Skrull refugee ship, and Yanrog starts a Kree attack on Earth. Carol unlocks her full power, and Yanrog is knocked out and sent back to the Kree as a declaration of war. Carol leaves Fury with a pager as she goes to find the Skrulls a planet to call home. Tony Stark is the billionaire head of Stark Industries. He and James Rhodey Rhodes travel to Afghanistan when one of his missiles gets used on him, allowing him to get kidnapped by Afghan terrorists. He meets Dr. Ho Yinsen, who helps him escape. Stark arrives at home and announces that he will be shutting down the weapons division of Stark Industries. Tony then spends the next few months building a metal suit. He learns that company manager Obadiah Stane is trying to take over the company. Stane tries to build his own Iron Man suit, but Tony fights off Stane, killing him. Tony tells the press that he is Iron Man. Sometime later, S.H.I.E.L.D. director Nick Fury approaches Tony about the Avengers initiative. Tony humiliates his business rival Justin Hammer and refuses to give the Iron Man armor to the US government. He goes home and puts Pepper in charge of Stark Industries, hiring a new assistant, S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Natasha Romanoff. Ivan Vanko attacks Tony, leading to Vanko's arrest. Hammer breaks him out and asks him to recreate the Iron Man armor. Hammer then announces his and Vanko's drones, led by Rhodey in the War Machine armor. Vanko takes control of all of it, however, and starts attacking everybody. As Hammer tries to regain control, Pepper calls the cops and has him arrested. Rhodey and Tony defeat the drones, as Natasha and Happy find Vanko, who kills himself. Fury tells Tony that they don't want him for the Avengers initiative, rather wanting him as more of a consultant, and Tony agrees. Agent Phil Coulson is on his way to investigate an occurrence in New Mexico when he stops at a gas station. Two armed men then come and start robbing the gas station while Coulson struggles to decide which donut to buy. Coulson subdues the criminals, buys both donuts, and tells the night clerk to tell the police that she was the one who subdued the robbers. Thor, Loki, Lady Sif, and the Warriors 3 travel to Jotunheim in order to start a war with the Frost Giants, so Thor's father, Odin, banishes Thor to Earth, where he meets and befriends Jane Foster. He discovers that his hammer, Mjolnir, crashed nearby, but he isn't worthy to use it. Odin then goes into the Odin sleep, putting Loki in charge of the throne. Loki then tells Thor that Odin is dead and goes to Laufey, king of the Frost Giants, and offers an opportunity to kill Odin. He commands the Destroyer armor to go to Earth and kill Thor. Thor confronts the Destroyer and sacrifices himself, making him worthy to wield Mjolnir again. He goes back to Asgard, and Laufey goes to Asgard to kill Odin, but Loki stops him. He then goes to destroy Jotunheim, but Thor destroys the Bifrost before he can. Loki then falls into space. Bruce Banner exposes himself to a heavy dose of gamma radiation and develops the ability to turn into the monstrous Hulk whenever he gets angry, forcing him on the run. General Thaddeus Ross finds Bruce's location, and he sends a team led by Sergeant Emil Blonsky to find Bruce, who escapes to the United States. Bruce and Ross's daughter, Betty, go to New York, where they meet Samuel Stearns, a scientist who they think can help Bruce cure himself of the Hulk. He does so, but then gets attacked by Ross's men. Blonsky forces Stearns to make him like Bruce, but instead turns into the Abomination, who starts terrorizing New York. Bruce realizes that Hulk is the only one who can stop him, so the two battle. Hulk wins, and Bruce has to flee again. Agents Jasper Sitwell and Coulson sent Tony in to tell Ross to recommend Bruce for the Avengers initiative rather than Blonsky. The next day, Coulson informs Sitwell that the plan has worked. Loki shows up on Earth and hypnotizes Clint Barton and several other S.H.I.E.L.D. agents into helping destroy a S.H.I.E.L.D. base. This leads Fury to unite Tony, Cap, Bruce, and Natasha against Loki. The Avengers capture Loki, and Thor appears to take Loki back to Asgard. He decides to join the Avengers, and Loki's men, led by Hawkeye, free Loki. Natasha frees Clint of Loki's spell, and Coulson gets stabbed with Loki's staff, killing him. Loki then starts an invasion of aliens called Chitauri. The team contains the damage as they kill the aliens, and the World Security Council nukes New York. Tony sends the nuke into a wormhole, killing all of the Chitauri. The Avengers capture Loki, and he gets sent to Asgardian prison. Benjamin Pollock and Clara Wise discover a Chitauri weapon, and they use it to rob banks. Sitwell confronts the couple in a motel room and offers Benjamin a job in the think tank and Clara a job as Felix Blake's assistant. Tony meets with Rhodey, who talks about a terrorist known as the Mandarin. Tony threatens the Mandarin, who attacks his home. He flees to a small town in Tennessee and learns that the Mandarin's attacks were caused by veterans turned into super soldiers by a serum called Extremis. Tony discovers that Aldrich Killian is behind Extremis, and he tracks the Mandarin down to Miami. Tony invades the Mandarin's mansion only to learn that he is actually an actor named Trevor Slattery, hired by Killian to take credit for the attacks. Killian kidnaps the president, and Tony uses all of his previously built Iron Man armors in the fight. He defeats Killian, and Slattery gets arrested. Tony then has Jarvis destroy all of the Iron Man armors. Jane Foster absorbs a powerful force of destruction known as the Ether, which is capable of destroying everything. Thor takes Jane to Asgard so that they can investigate it, and the Asgardians try to develop a plan. Alerted by Jane's use of the Ether, Malekith leads the Dark Elves in an attack against Asgard. Trying to prevent another Dark Elf invasion, Lady Sif, Fendral, and Volstagg help Thor break Loki out of prison so that the two of them can use Jane as bait in order to capture the Dark Elves. Loki dies during this plan, and the battle ends up going to Greenwich, where Malekith plans to use the Ether to destroy the Nine Realms. The Ether gets removed from Jane's body, and after Thor kills Malekith, his ship starts crashing down to Earth. Loki takes over as Odin, and Lady Sif and Volstagg give the Ether to the Collector. Trevor is a celebrity in prison, and he gets interviewed by a man named Jackson Norris, who is doing a documentary on him. During the last interview, Norris takes a gun out of his camera and kills the prison guards. He tells Slattery that he works for the real Mandarin and 10 Rings, and takes the actor to meet them. Fury tells Cap about Project Insight, a plan to use 3 helicarriers to neutralize potential enemy targets based on their DNA. Fury gets shot, and S.H.I.E.L.D. turns against Cap, who escapes and turns to Natasha. They learn that Hydra has infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. They get attacked by a Hydra agent called the Winter Soldier, who Cap recognizes to be Bucky. Steve, Sam Wilson, and Maria Hill break into the S.H.I.E.L.D. Triskelion, and Hydra initiates Project Insight, while Natasha gains access to classified information. Sam and Cap destroy the helicarriers, S.H.I.E.L.D. and Fury are both officially dead, and Natasha needs to find a new identity, and Sam promises to help Cap find Bucky. Coulson is brought back to life and assembles a task force consisting of Grant Ward, Melinda May, Gemma Simmons, and Leopold Fitz. With the help of Skye, the team uncovers a plot by Project Centipede to create the ultimate super soldier using past attempts. Skye joins the team as an honorary agent, and they begin to organize an effort to track down the Clairvoyant, Project Centipede's leader, and discover that S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Garrett is the Clairvoyant and that Ward is Hydra. They track Ward and Garrett down to Cybertech, a technology company. May defeats Ward, Garrett gets vaporized by Coulson, and both S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra are forced underground. Peter Quill, a human who got abducted by aliens in the 80s, steals an orb and plans to sell it. A Kree named Ronan sends one of Thanos' daughters, Gamora, to get the orb. Quill, Gamora, and bounty hunters Rocket Raccoon and Groot fight and get arrested. Gamora reveals that she plans to sell the orb to somebody else, enticing Quill, Rocket, Groot, and Drax the Destroyer to break out with her. Quill and the others arrive on Nowhere, home of the Collector, but Drax summons Ronan, whose forces attack on Nowhere along with Nebula. The Ravagers save them, and the team confronts Ronan, who crashes his ship on Xandar. Groot sacrifices himself to save them, and the rest of the team uses the Infinity Stone to destroy Ronan. Quill, Gamora, Rocket, Drax, and Baby Groot take Nebula as a prisoner, but Rocket steals some of the batteries from the Sovereign people who attack the Guardians. They are saved by a man named Ego, Quill's father. They go with Ego and his servant Mantis to his planet, where Ego explains his plan to consume every world and every person, revealing also that he was the one who killed Quill's mother. The Guardians fight Ego as Groot plants a bomb inside Ego's core, causing the whole planet to explode. Yondu gives Quill his space mask, sacrificing himself in the process. The Guardians cremate Yondu, Kraglin of Fonteri starts using Yondu's arrow, and the Sovereign leader takes a birth pod she has and names the creation inside of it Adam. Matt Murdock is a blind lawyer from Hell's Kitchen who has sonar vision from chemicals he was exposed to as a child. He and Foggy Nelson set up a law firm and hire Karen Page as their secretary. Matt becomes a vigilante and receives medical help from Claire Temple. Crime lord Wilson Fisk tries to court Vanessa Mariana, an art enthusiast. Matt, Foggy, and Karen investigate Fisk, leading Matt to show up as Daredevil and attack one of Fisk's men, Leland Owsley, but he gets interrupted by his old mentor, Stick, who he helps stop another of Fisk's men, Nobu Yoshioka. Meanwhile, Foggy and Karen build a legal case against Fisk with help from Ben Urich, who Fisk kills. Foggy finds out that Matt is a vigilante while Karen kills Fisk's assistant. Foggy and Matt charge Fisk with numerous crimes, getting the criminal tried and arrested. Vanessa escapes the city and the newspaper dubs Matt Daredevil. Jessica Jones is a private investigator with super strength dating a bulletproof bartender named Luke Cage. Jessica gets hired to find and rescue a young girl named Hope Schlottman, who she discovers is the latest victim of her rapist ex-boyfriend, Kilgrave, who has the power to control people. Jessica forms a support group of former victims, and Kilgrave makes Will Simpson attempt to kill Trish Walker, Jessica's best friend. Simpson gets injured and taken to a doctor named Kozlov, who gives him a special pill which gives him super strength and healing, while Kilgrave flees. Hope gets released from jail only for Kilgrave to find her again, prompting Hope to kill herself. Kilgrave gains control of Luke and makes him attack Jessica, forcing her to shoot him. She traces Kilgrave down to a dock where she snaps his neck. Director Coulson and agents May, Fitz, Simmons, Tripp, Mack, Skye, Lance Hunter, Isabel Hartley, Idaho, and Bobby Morse apprehend a man trying to receive the obelisk, which gets given to Calvin Zabo, Skye's father. Tripp and Skye get trapped in a Kree temple when Reyna activates it. Tripp dies while Skye gains the ability to generate seismic energy. A Kree reveals that they are Inhumans, a race created by the Kree many years ago. Gordon takes Calvin and Skye to a place called Afterlife, where she is trained by Lincoln Campbell. Skye discovers that Jiaying, the leader of Afterlife, is her mother. Jiaying starts a war between S.H.I.E.L.D. and Afterlife, but Calvin kills her. Fitzsimmons study a rock called the Monolith, but then it swallows Simmons. The Avengers go to Sokovia to recover Loki's scepter. Two powered Hydra agents, Pietro and Wanda Maximoff, enter the field. Tony and Bruce study the staff and use it to make an AI called Ultron. It kills Jarvis and leaves with the scepter. Ultron tries to build a new body, so the Avengers steal the body and convert the twins to their side, as well as bring the body to life. It calls itself Vision. Ultron lifts a large Sokovian city into the sky, planning to drop it onto Earth and destroy humanity. The Avengers try to clear the city of its inhabitants, and Pietro dies. The Avengers destroy all of Ultron's robots and destroy the city in order to stop it from crashing. Hulk flies into space, and the Avengers set up a new facility in upstate New York. Cap and Natasha start training Wanda, Sam, Rhodey, and Vision to be Avengers. WHiH interviews Darren Cross, the new head of PIM Technologies. Scott Lang gets interviewed, but he doesn't get to talk about Vistacor's theft because the company owns WHiH. Scott freaks out on Everhart for being biased, causing him to get tased and the interview to get cut short. Scott gets released from prison and learns that his ex-wife won't let him see his daughter Cassie. Scott breaks into the home of Hank Pym, a former head of PIM Technologies. He discovers and steals a suit and discovers that it can shrink. Hank tells Scott that he wants to recruit him to steal PimTech's latest invention, the Yellow Jacket suit. He has his daughter, Hope, spy on Cross from within the company. The two start training Scott to use the suit and command ants. Scott gets his friends to help break into PimTech, but Cross captures him and the two start fighting. Scott shrinks between the molecules and destroys the Yellow Jacket suit and returns to normal size. Scott gets to see his daughter and Hank gives Hope the Wasp suit. Matt discovers that Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, has been gunning down a lot of gangs. Matt pleads with him to stop killing, but Frank refuses. He gets arrested and Matt and Karen convince Foggy to defend Frank. Foggy starts winning the case, but Frank wrecks his own defense, leading to his arrest. Fisk then helps Frank escape prison, and he saves Karen's life. Matt's ex, Elektra, is revealed to be the Black Sky, a living weapon worshipped by the Hand. The Hand takes hostages, and Matt and Elektra save everybody, but Elektra dies in the process. Matt reveals to Karen that he is Daredevil, and the Hand place Elektra's corpse in an ancient device. Luke becomes a sweeper in a barbershop in Harlem owned by his mentor, Pop. A member of Harlem's crime community named Shades approaches Cottonmouth about a new crime boss in town, Diamondback, but Cottonmouth ignores him. Luke confronts Cottonmouth as Shades attacks the barbershop, killing Pop. Luke declares war on Cottonmouth during Pop's memorial service. In a fit of rage, Mariah kills Cottonmouth and Shades helps her blame Luke. Diamondback takes over the city and Luke sets out to stop him. Luke, Misty Knight, and Claire try to arrest Diamondback, who is revealed to be Luke's half-brother. Diamondback attacks Luke wins, and Misty arrests Mariah for Cottonmouth's murder. However, Shades kills their witness against Mariah, forcing the NYPD to let her go. Luke gets arrested for having broken out of prison years ago. Danny Rand returns to New York after being declared dead. He meets Colleen Wing and gets a job at her dojo. Danny follows his old friend Ward Meacham to his father Harold's house, where he discovers that Harold had faked his death. Danny meets one of Colleen's students, Claire, and finds Madame Gao in an abandoned floor of the Rand Enterprises building. Danny, Claire, and Colleen take her into their custody. Colleen's friend Bakudo takes Gao and Danny and Colleen to his training facility, where Danny discovers that Bakudo and Colleen are working with the Hand. They escape the Hand, and Bakudo disappears. Danny and Ward stop Harold, Ward's sister Joy and Davos meet about killing Danny, and Danny and Colleen return to Kunlun only to find the entire city has vanished. Danny and Colleen investigate Kunlun, Foggy gets Luke out of prison, Matt has retired as Daredevil, and Jessica continues as a PI. The four of them fight the Hand, and Matt learns that Elektra is alive. Hand agents Alexandra, Murakami, Sawande, and Elektra attack the Defenders and Stick, and they capture and kill Sawande. Elektra kills Stick and takes Danny. She then kills Alexandra and takes control of the Hand. Elektra tricks Danny into opening the door that the Hand needs him to. Matt, Jessica, and Luke go to find Danny, Bakudo attacks Colleen and Claire, he cuts Misty's arm off, and Colleen kills him. Matt has the rest of the group go back to the surface while he deals with Elektra as the building explodes. Christine Everhart and Will Adams debate whether powered individuals should be able to act independently. President Ellis commends the people who cleaned up from the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D. and honors Cap and Sam. Ellis appoints General Ross as Secretary of State and says that the Avengers should develop a relationship with world governments.
Secretary of State Ross tells the Avengers about the Sokovia Accords, a United Nations bill meant to oversee the Avengers. The Avengers are split, with Steve against the bill and Tony supporting it. The King of Wakanda dies and his son, T'Challa, becomes the Black Panther and swears revenge on his father's killer, who appears to be Bucky. Bucky tells Cap that Helmut Zemo knows the location of 5 other Winter Soldiers. Cap, Tony, and their supporters fight, Rhodey gets severely injured, and Bucky and Steve escape with a Quinjet. Tony follows them against Ross's orders. They discover that Zemo's true plan was to divide the Avengers. Zemo reveals that Bucky killed Tony's parents, causing Tony to go into a frenzy, fighting Bucky and Cap. Cap leaves Tony, and T'Challa arrests Zemo. S.H.I.E.L.D. learns that the monolith is a portal to another world, and then the team successfully rescues Simmons. They discover an ancient castle in England where Hydra is trying to bring a godlike Inhuman named Hive to Earth. Coulson, Ward, Fitz, and several Hydra agents go to the planet the monolith is connected to. Coulson kills Ward and Hive possesses his body as Fitz and Coulson return to Earth. Hive needs an army, and S.H.I.E.L.D. recruits an Inhuman named Elena Rodriguez, nicknamed Yo-Yo. Hive plans to use a nuclear warhead to distribute a pathogen which makes everybody into his mindless army. Lincoln realizes that the only way to defeat Hive is to blow him up, which he sacrifices himself to do. Skye, who now goes by Daisy, is so distraught over this that she leaves S.H.I.E.L.D.
T'Challa returns to Wakanda, gets crowned king, and finds Ulysses Klaue in Seoul. After chasing Klaue through the city, Eric Killmonger rescues him. T'Challa confronts Zuri, who reveals that his father killed Killmonger's father. Killmonger kills Klaue and brings him to Wakanda, where he challenges T'Challa to a duel. He kills Zuri and throws T'Challa off of a cliff, becoming king. Shuri, Okoye, King Ramonda, and Everett Ross resurrect T'Challa, who returns to the palace. T'Challa, Shuri, Nakia, and Okoye battle the Wakandan army, and T'Challa eventually kills Killmonger. He builds an embassy in Oakland and talks to the United Nations, revealing the kinds of resources that Wakanda has. A long time ago, Inhumans fled Earth and established a kingdom known as Attilan on the Moon, ruled by Black Bolt, Medusa, Maximus, Crystal, Triton, Karnak, Gorgon, and Lockjaw. Maximus organizes a coup, and the others escape to Hawaii. A CEO named Evan Declan helps Black Bolt, but they learn that Maximus is working with Declan. Gorgon kills Declan, and Maximus destroys Attilan, so Black Bolt has the population evacuated to Earth, as Medusa promises to change their way of ruling. Black Bolt abandons Maximus in Attilan, and the royal family prepares to create a new Inhuman civilization on Earth. Peter Parker returns to school and stops a group of men from robbing an ATM. He investigates an explosion and stops one of Adrian Toombs' men from selling weapons to Aaron Davis. He convinces Davis to reveal Toombs' location and attacks Toombs' crew on a ferry, but fails, so Tony takes the suit away. Peter learns that his girlfriend's father is Adrian Toombs. He attacks Toombs, who causes one of Tony's planes to crash into Coney Island, where he gets Toombs arrested. Tony forgives Peter and proposes to Pepper. Yo-Yo discovers that Victor Ramon killed her cousin. She signs the Sokovia Accords and tracks Ramon down to Baltimore. Daisy helps her fight Ramon, and Yo-Yo tricks a watchdog into accidentally killing him. Frank Castle gets a call from David Lieberman, who demands a meeting. In order to get around Carson Wolf's orders to stop investigating the murder of Ahmad Zubair, Homeland Security agent Dina Madani arranges for her crew to be trained by Billy Russo, one of Frank's former squad mates. Frank meets with Lieberman, who reveals that Frank's military team, part of a group called Operation Cerberus, wasn't sanctioned, meaning their actions were illegal. Frank looks for William Rawlins, the head of Cerberus. Billy, who is working for Rawlins, kills a Homeland agent. Rawlins and Billy capture Frank and torture him until Homeland comes and breaks him out. Frank beats and nearly kills Billy, and Homeland helps Frank get a new identity. Stephen Strange is a cocky neurosurgeon who gets into a near-fatal car accident where his hands become useless, ending his career. He finds Jonathan Pangborn, who directs him to Kamar Taj, where he is taken in and trained in magic by sorcerers known as Mordo and the Ancient One. Caecilius starts attacking the Sanctums, home of the Masters of the Mystic Arts. He reveals that the Ancient One's power comes from Dormammu, an evil being who wants to conquer Earth. Caecilius kills the Ancient One, and Strange confronts Dormammu, trapping him in a time loop until he gives up and leaves Earth. Tandy Bowen is homeless, and Ty Johnson attends private Catholic school. Tandy can create daggers of light, while Ty can teleport. Ty uses his powers to find Detective Connors, who killed his brother. The two find evidence to clear Tandy's father's name of an explosion at a Roxxon facility, but she destroys it when she learns her father was abusive. Ty and Bridget O'Reilly get Connors to confess, but Ty gets framed for killing a cop. A Roxxon facility explodes, turning people into deranged terrors. Tandy and Ty run into Connors, who gets sucked into a different dimension. They combine their powers to save New Orleans. Fitz discovers that Dr. Holden Radcliffe built an AI named Ada. S.H.I.E.L.D., Daisy, and Robbie Reyes, aka Ghost Rider, investigate a ghost woman named Lucy Bauer. Robbie destroys Lucy and gets dragged to hell. S.H.I.E.L.D. Director Mace publicly reinstates Daisy, while Mace, Coulson, Mac, and Fitz get put into a digital reality called the Framework. Daisy and Simmons enter the Framework to save them, and Ada kills Radcliffe. Mace dies, and Daisy kills Ada, who comes to life in the real world. Daisy and the crew leave the Framework, and an android that looks like Daisy attempts to kill General Talbot. Coulson kills Ada, and S.H.I.E.L.D. gets taken to a space station. Trish and Jessica investigate IGH, a company which gave Jessica her superpowers. She finds a janitor who is accused of killing an IGH nurse and finds out that he used to meet with someone named Dr. Carl. Jessica gets Carl's address, where she shows up and finds that her mother, Alyssa, is still alive. She and Carl kidnap Jessica, and the three are forced to run from the cops. Trish and Malcolm kidnap Carl and force him to give her superpowers, but she ends up in the hospital. Carl blows himself up, and Alyssa tries to kill Trish. Jessica stops her, but Trish kills her, and Jessica takes the blame for the murder. A Jamaican named Bushmaster becomes the leader of the Yardies gang.
He attacks Luke while high on Nightshade, making Shade suspicious that Bushmaster is after him and Mariah. Luke challenges Bushmaster to a fight for Harlem, which he loses. Bushmaster attacks Mariah and Luke saves her. Mariah breaks the rules of the street and Shades is disgusted, so he turns himself in to help bring Mariah down. Misty gets a prosthetic arm and Luke almost kills Bushmaster, but Misty stops him and arrests Mariah. Mariah gets killed and Luke takes over Harlem's paradise in order to keep an eye on Harlem's crime. FBI agent Ray Nadeem uses Fisk's intel to arrest criminals and Fisk gets put under house arrest. Foggy discovers that Matt is alive and tells Karen. FBI agent Dex attacks the Bulletin, so Matt fights him in the black suit but can't stop Dex from killing a man and blaming Daredevil. Nadeem learns that the FBI works for Fisk. Dex kills Nadeem and Foggy and Karen publish his dying confession to all of the crimes Fisk had him commit, and Dex attacks Fisk. Fisk shatters Dex's spine and Matt beats Fisk. Matt, Foggy, and Karen celebrate their victory and decide to reopen Nelson and Murdoch permanently, naming it Nelson, Murdoch, and Page. Danny meets a woman named Mary Walker who has dissociative identity disorder, split between the naive Mary and the violent Walker. Meanwhile, Davos and Joy start collecting items they need to take the Iron Fist away from Danny. Walker beats Danny and takes him to Davos, who takes his power as the Iron Fist and starts using it to kill criminals. Misty and Colleen look into getting the Iron Fist back to Danny. Danny and Colleen try to stop the Triads from killing Davos, and when Davos attacks, Danny sedates him and the ritual is performed, transferring the Iron Fist to Colleen and making her the new Iron Fist. Mayhem, a violent doppelganger of Bridget's, frees a number of missing women, and Tandy and Ty join her in trying to stop some sex traffickers. Tandy brings Connors out of Ty's pocket dimension. Tandy gets kidnapped by the head of a sex ring named Andre, who has the power to replay people's memories in their head. Ty breaks her out, and Andre becomes a Loa, a kind of voodoo god. He starts draining hope from everybody in New Orleans. Ty and Tandy defeat Andre, Connors dies and gets turned in, and Ty's name is cleared. Tandy and Ty leave, wondering if they can be heroes. Thor and Loki go to Earth to find Odin, who dies, allowing their sister Hela to come to Earth. Hela destroys Mjolnir and sends Thor and Loki to the planet Sakaar, run by the Grandmaster. Loki befriends the Grandmaster while Thor meets Valkyrie, an Asgardian warrior who has become an alcoholic bounty hunter. Hela goes to Asgard and claims the throne. The Grandmaster pits Thor against his champion, the Hulk. Thor meets Korg and Meek, two revolutionaries who got captured. Valkyrie, Thor, Loki, Bruce, Korg, and Meek escape Sakaar and fight Hela. Hela cuts Thor's eye out, and Thor and Loki realize that they need to destroy Asgard. Loki steals the Tesseract and resurrects Surtur, who destroys Asgard, taking Hela down with it. Alex Wilder, Nico Minoru, Chase Stein, Carolina Dean, Gertrude Gert Yorks, and Molly Hernandez sneak into Alex's father Jeffrey's office where they watch their parents kill a kid. Molly discovers that when she gets anxious, she gets super strength. Chase and Gert accidentally free a dinosaur that her parents, Dale and Stacy, had developed, which they discover is psychically linked to Gert. Carolina discovers that she has alien superpowers, and Chase starts building weapons which he calls Fistigons. Meanwhile, their parents, who call themselves Pride, resurrect Jonah, Carolina's alien father. The kids learn that Pride's renewable energy source will cause earthquakes, and they go to stop them. The Runaways successfully stop the earthquakes, leading to run away with the dinosaur, who Gert names Old Lace. They plan to flee the city, but Jeffrey and Catherine then try to protect them by framing them for murder, forcing them to live on the run in LA. The Runaways discover an abandoned mansion where they can stay, which they call the Hostel. Jonah plans to unearth his spaceship from the construction site, and Dale and Stacy create a serum that can kill Jonah and the living spaceship. Pride manages to destroy the spaceship, Nico kills Jonah, and Jonah's family possesses various Pride members. Pride starts developing weapons to get their kids back. Victor convinces Chase to come home and offers him a chance to join Pride. He accepts, and the Runaways choose to take Leslie in because she is pregnant and has rejected Pride. Dale decides to take Gert and Old Lace away because the magistrate's wife has possessed Stacy. Jeffrey and Catherine get arrested, and the Gibborim reunite and capture Chase, Carolina, and Janet, planning to sacrifice them. Scott has a vision of one of Hank's wife's memories. He calls Hank and Hope, and they ask for help getting Janet. Hope buys something from a black market dealer named Sonny Birch, but Hope has to use the Wasp suit to stop Birch from taking advantage of them. They get attacked by Ava Starr, who steals Hank's lab. Birch, looking to get Hank's lab, discovers their location and reports to a contact at the FBI. Scott and Hope distract Ava while Hank brings Janet back from the quantum realm. Birch and his men get arrested, Janet helps Ava, Scott gets off house arrest, and the group decides to research the quantum realm. Frank meets Amy Bendix, who gets attacked. Billy regains his strength and breaks out of a hospital, taking his psychologist, Dr. Krista Dumont, hostage. This convinces Madani to bring Frank and Amy to New York. Krista lets Billy stay with her while Frank learns that Amy stole photos which a Russian named Nikolai Poloznev wants. The photos are of a gay couple, one of whom wants to run for president. Billy starts terrorizing New York as Pilgrim puts a bounty on Frank's and Amy's heads. Frank beats Pilgrim, and he and Amy kill Schultz's parents as well as Billy. Jessica discovers that Trish has powers and gets stabbed while she's hanging out with Eric Geldin. She learns that Eric was the intended target and finds the attacker, a man named Gregory Salinger. Jess and Trish investigate Salinger, leading to Salinger killing Dorothy. Jessica gets arrested for a cop's murder, which was in fact performed by Trish, but gets let out. Trish goes to kill Salinger, but Jessica won't let her. Salinger kidnaps Jessica, but she gets him to confess to killing Dorothy on tape. Trish kills Salinger, forcing Jessica to go after her. Trish gets arrested, and Jessica watches her get taken to prison. Coulson, Mac, Yo-Yo, Daisy, Simmons, and May are taken to the year 2091, where Kree keep humans as slaves. They meet Deke, Shaw, and Fitz goes to the future. They start a revolution and return to 2017 along with Deke. Ruby, a Hydra agent, cuts Yo-Yo's arms off. Yo-Yo receives prosthetic arms and kills Ruby. Talbot infuses himself with gravitonium and starts mining gravitonium in Chicago, and S.H.I.E.L.D. shows up to stop him. He and Daisy fight, and Daisy launches Talbot into space, killing him. During the battle, Fitz is crushed under a building and dies. Coulson dies, and they go to find the Fitz who is time-traveling to 2091 since he is no longer needed there. Having gotten the Power Stone, Thanos and the Black Order attack Asgard. Heimdall returns Hulk to Earth and Thanos kills him. Loki gives Thanos the Tesseract and Thanos kills Loki. Bruce, Tony, Peter, Strange, and Wong confront the Black Order in New York, and Maw kidnaps Strange, so Tony and Peter sneak aboard Thanos' ship. Cap, Natasha, and Sam save Wanda and Vision, and they go to Wakanda where they reunite with Bucky and T'Challa so that Shuri can get the Mind Stone safely so that Wanda can destroy it. Tony and Peter kill Maw and save Strange, and they go to Titan. Thor takes Rocket and Groot to create a weapon that can kill Thanos, while Thanos gets the Reality Stone and disappears with Gamora, who reveals the Soul Stone's location, and Thanos kills her. Strange exchanges the Time Stone for Tony's life, while Thanos' troops attack Wakanda. A dwarf named Atri makes a weapon called Stormbreaker, and Thor, Rocket, and Groot go to Wakanda. Thanos takes the Mind Stone, killing Vision, and turns half of the universe into dust, including several Avengers.
Nico, Alex, Molly, Leslie, and a shapeshifter named Zavin rescue Chase and Carolina from the Magistrate's family, but Janet doesn't make it and becomes a computer program. Meanwhile, Catherine confesses to killing Darius Davis, so Jeffrey gets let out of prison, but Darius' widow, Tamar, has someone kill Catherine. The Magistrate's son has possessed Alex, and Leslie has a child, which Zavin takes to another planet, while the Runaways kill the Magistrate's family with help from Morgan Le Fay, with whom Nico has been communicating. The Runaways go to the Dark Dimension in order to retrieve the former hosts of the Magistrate's family, but Alex gets left behind. They return to Earth 6 months later, where Morgan has been dating Robert and plans on using cell phones to brainwash an army so that the Dark Dimension can come to Earth and she can rule both. They rescue Alex, and Pride decides to team up with the Runaways to stop her, and they save Molly from being sacrificed. Chase, Alex, Janet, and Victor stop the phones from working while Tina and Nico create a salt that can stop Morgan's powers. Gert tricks Morgan into the circle and Tina sends her back to the Dark Dimension, but Gert dies in the process. In 2028, Chase travels to 2021, where the Runaways stop 2028 Alex from killing them. The 2021 Runaways return to 2018 to save Gert's life, causing them to disappear.
Daisy, Simmons, Piper, and Davis look for Fitz in space while Mac, May, and Yo-Yo start growing S.H.I.E.L.D. with Mac as director. Jocko, Pax, Snowflake, and Sarge come to Earth, and Sarge looks just like Coulson. The group in space find Fitz, but have to leave him and Simmons behind. Sarge kidnaps May and explains that he is trying to stop a woman named Izel from destroying Earth, and May arrests him. Izel brings Fitzsimmons to Earth, leaving Enoch behind. S.H.I.E.L.D. tries to stop Izel, but Jocko and Pax die, and Snowflake gets arrested. Izel makes Davis kill himself and opens a portal to the Fear Dimension. Sarge, May, and Daisy attack Izel's tower, and Sarge stabs May in the chest. Chronicoms attack the lighthouse, and Daisy and Mac kill Sarge. May kills Izel, the portal closes, and Simmons takes S.H.I.E.L.D. to 1930s New York, where they activate a Coulson LMD. Mac, Daisy, Yo-Yo, Enoch, Deke, the Coulson LMD, May, Simmons, and Ernest Koenig ensure that Freddie Malik delivers a key ingredient of the super soldier serum to Hydra. In the 1950s, they stop the Chronicoms from destroying Area 51 and stop Daniel Sousa from being killed by Freddie, who the Chronicom Luke helps to build up Hydra. S.H.I.E.L.D., now joined by Sousa, stops Project Insight from being launched early, and the Chronicom Sybil helps Nathaniel Malik get Daisy's powers, which he uses to attack Afterlife and kill Jiaying. Enoch dies, and Daisy's sister Cora gives Sybil access to S.H.I.E.L.D. files, and the Chronicoms destroy S.H.I.E.L.D. in the alternate timeline. Simmons brings Fitz to 1983, and they bring the Chronicoms back to the main timeline, where they destroy the ship, giving Chronicoms empathy and ending the attack. Fitzsimmons raise their daughter. Mac, Yo-Yo, Piper, and an LMD of Davis continue working for S.H.I.E.L.D. May founds a new S.H.I.E.L.D. Academy where Flint attends as a student. Daisy, Sousa, and Cora travel through space. Deke directs S.H.I.E.L.D. in the alternate timeline, and Coulson travels to see the world.
20 years ago, the demon Marduk Helstrom kidnapped his daughter, Anna, and made her go with him as he murdered people. Anna grows up to use an auction house as a cover to kill bad people, and her brother Damon hunts demons with Louise Hastings and the new nun in training, Gabby Rossetti. Cathara, a demon possessing their mother, Victoria, gets a nurse possessed by her son, Basar. Anna and Damon reunite while Anna's best friend, Chris Yen, uses a keeper demon to hold Cathara back. However, Victoria sacrifices herself to protect the hospital, while Caretaker tries to stop the blood from separating Anna and Damon. Cathara and Basar possess Gabby and Damon, impregnate Gabby, and force her to give birth to a new permanent host for Cathara. Damon and Anna kill the demons, Gabby joins the blood, and Yen, who has become a keeper, watches Cathara until Marduk arrives and takes her away.
Carol brings Tony and Nebula to Earth, where they reunite with the Avengers and Pepper. They find Thanos, but discover that he destroyed the stones. Thor decapitates him, and the group returns to Earth. 5 years later, Scott escapes the quantum realm and suggests that they travel back in time in order to get the Infinity Stones and bring everyone back. Nebula, Rocket, Thor, and Clint join. They all return with the stones except Natasha, who had died, and Nebula, who had been replaced by her 2014 self, and Bruce brings all the snap victims back to life, and 2014 Nebula brings Thanos' army and ship to 2023. He blows up the compound, so the Avengers fight him, keeping the gauntlet from him. The rest of the heroes go to Earth and join the fight. Tony then takes the gauntlet and kills Thanos and his own army, but also killing himself in the process. Cap returns the stones to their proper timelines and goes to the 40s and lives his life with Peggy. Cap gives Sam his shield, appointing him the new Captain America.
Peter buys a dual headphone adapter, picks up a passport, and sells his toys in order to buy a gift for MJ. He fights and defeats the Manfredi crime family and tells the cops he can't be the next Iron Man because he's too busy doing their job.
Midtown Tech organizes a school field trip to Europe, which Peter, MJ, Ned, Betty Brant, and Brad Davis attend. The class arrives in Venice when Hydro Man attacks. Peter helps Quentin Beck fight it and joins Fury and Beck in the fight against the Elementals. Fury gives Peter AI glasses named Edith that Tony invented. Peter and Beck defeat the final Elemental, and Peter gives Beck the Edith glasses. Beck celebrates, revealing that Mysterio, the Elementals, and everything else is fake. MJ reveals that she knows that Peter is Spider-Man, and Peter discovers that Mysterio is fake. Beck creates an illusion of a fusion of the 4 Elementals, but Peter destroys the illusion, kills Beck, reclaims Edith, and calls off the attack. Fury and Hill are revealed to have been replaced by Talos and Soren, while the real Fury and Hill are on vacation. A fake recording of Beck's final words are broadcast, announcing to the world that Peter Parker is Spider-Man and incriminating him for the Elemental attacks. J. Jonah Jameson reports on Spider-Man being a menace and the revelation that he is Peter Parker. While people look for more Spenge, the Mafia Cold War in New York City turns hot due to Spider-Man's intervention. Coney Island reopens after it was destroyed, and the UK expects the US to pay for the damages caused in the fight against Mysterio.